Thank you for staying with us on DD India News. I am Tanvi Taneja. Let's take a quick look at our top stories. Marking a decade that turned India into a startup nation, Prime Minister Modi says today's India believes in aspiration and creation, invites young entrepreneurs to invest more in manufacturing, technology and artificial intelligence. US stands by Iranian people, tells the UNSC all options are on table to stop the slaughter. Iran warns it will respond decisively to any aggression. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol found guilty in first of 4 trials, given 5-year jail term for obstruction, evidence destruction. And in sports, Lakshya Sen keeps India's title hopes alive at the India Open badminton tournament in New Delhi. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has attended the National Startup Day, the decade of Startup India. Prime Minister Modi interacted with entrepreneurs and startup founders in New Delhi, when also the startup representatives shared their insights from their entrepreneurial journey in the national capital. Prime Minister Modi called the success of Startup India mission a revolution. He called it the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. He spoke of the tremendous growth in startups in the country in the past decade, the growth also seen in startup unicorns in the country. He spoke of women-led development in this sector, citing that 45% recognized startups in India have a woman director or a partner. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal also spoke of the various schemes that have given a tremendous boost to Startup India success. He said that India has transformed job seekers into job creators. Over 50% startups, it's interesting to note, are from Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya earlier filed this report.
India's startup revolution takes center stage on January 16, National Startup Day. Launched under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Startup India initiative in 2016, the day celebrates innovation, entrepreneurship and ambition shaping a new India. Today, India is home to over 1.2 lakh startups and more than 100 unicorns, making it the world's 3rd largest startup ecosystem. From fintech and health tech to green energy and deep tech, Indian startups are creating jobs, attracting global investments and driving economic growth.
In the last 10 years since I have been an entrepreneur, the biggest shift that I have seen is the rise of B2B tech solving vertically niche and specific problems. And in the recent times, I have been noticing a huge wave of solid technical founders building artificially intelligent products on top of software, not just selling in India but across the globe. That excites me a lot, and I feel that such wave of products is going to take India to its next level.
National Startup Day 2026 will be marked by grand celebrations at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Highlights include states' startup rankings, national startup awards, investor interactions, startup showcases, and key policy announcements. It's a platform to connect ideas with opportunity and vision with action.
With innovation at its core, the National Startup Day showcases India's entrepreneurial spirit shaping the future. As startups drives jobs, technology and growth, the journey from ideas to impact continues. With Person Vishwabandhu, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
And joining me now in DD India News is Subri Devra, founder of careerguide.com. It's a startup based in New Delhi. Welcome, Subri, to DD India. Well, how would you describe this wave of startups in the country? How have these startups played a central role in economic transformation in the past decade or so?
In fact, we were listening to PM Modi just now, and he says this has actually what happened 10 years back, Startup India, which was launched on this date, which has created tremendous job, 21 lakh jobs created. That time, 10 years back, we had what? 5,000 roughly startups, and today we have more than 2 lakhs of startups. So it's an economic wave of the third largest economy, and it's also third largest startup capital after US and China. Interestingly, even PM Modi talked about how tier 2, tier 3 people are coming up, chote shehron se, small towns, and they are creating these innovations totally. So yes, startups are definitely backbone of what's happening today in India, the economy, and it's making our nation not as a job seeker, it's making a nation as job creator. That's exactly what we need as of now.
Okay, tell me, has the mindset really changed about starting a startup? As Prime Minister was mentioning that back in the day, people were very hesitant to start up their own company. Has it changed?
Absolutely, 100%. I'll go hands by that. Yes, mindset has changed. Today, parents do not say, hey, go take up a job. They are super supportive about, their kids starting up a company. And this is not the trend just in metros of Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad, but this is trend even in small towns like Indore. I'm meeting startup founders from Samastipur, Bihar, or Bareilly, or Bhopal. That hugely says entire India is supportive about the fact that yes, you can create jobs. And there was something very beautiful PM Modi said, ki risk-taking ability. Indians have gotten into risk-taking ability. And something which he's quoted is that, nuksan hoga to mera hoga, but fayda hoga to pure desh ka hoga, which is a beautiful startup founder mindset, which has gotten into every Indian, every youth, so-called Gen Z who's coming out of college. Yes, Tanvi.
Okay. Surabhi, very importantly, yes, you also mentioned, and so did the Prime Minister and Commerce Minister, that the startups are no longer confined to metropolitan hubs. In fact, they are 50% of the startup movement is there in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So why startups, why is this such a significant development, and what has the government done to be able to bring up startups in tier 2 and tier 3?
Thank you for this question. Yes, first of all, when leader of the country is talking about it's okay to go startup, you just don't have to work in the big IT companies based in Bangalore. That's the mindset shift, when they are taking out from the schedule, they are organizing these mega conferences where they are showcasing everything. That's one. But second, more importantly, which PM Modi also talked about in his speech, is how they ensured several old laws, regulations have been changed. He also talked about some 80 plus provisions have been decriminalized. He also talked about how simple laws around exits, formations have been made easy. He talked about how the grants have been given. So yes, these are the small things which might look like, oh, nothing possibly has changed, but that has made it easy for the company formations, startup formation, capital access, lot of the schemes which have come into picture, which he also talked about, the capital access and acceptability. So I think when the government upfront says that, look, we are here to support. That's what he also mentioned. We are here to support, come start. Do you have an idea? We will make this possible for you. And that makes all the changes.
Yes, he in fact laid emphasis on research also. He said that research, today's research will become
tomorrow's IP.
Tomorrow's IP.
And that's why the 1 lakh crore research grant. I think India has been always behind research, and we had very few institutions or people wanting to get into research. But today when government is talking, PM Modi is talking about how we acknowledge the fact that research will become tomorrow's IP, and hence we invite people to come and do research. That's definitely progressive.
Yes, that is progress. Another thing that is progressive is women-led entrepreneurship. Would you like to add on that?
Oh, that's my favorite topic, right? उन्होंने कहा हमारी बेटियां आगे बढ़ेगी. That's my favorite topic. And very beautiful thing is about, yes, we might have women representation in 45% startup where there could be a woman director, women founder, but we definitely need more and more women coming forward, because when women come into entrepreneurship, when women come into startup, we are harnessing, doubling the entrepreneurial skill sets in the country. That's one. When women come into startup and then they start and we make the entry barrier low for them, we also adding to underserved market and categories, and we are making our economy just not doubling the economy, but we are also making our economy resilient. That's very important. That's a viral impact of when women come into starting up, to families, to communities, to economy. So yes, हमारी बेटियों को आगे definitely बढ़ना है.
Okay. Yes, it's a long way to go. We have another decade's vision in front of us, and of course aligning it with the Viksit Bharat 2047's goal.
Right.
What are the problems and difficulties that startups may be facing, and you think that they require intervention from the government?
Oh yes, patient capital. I think still we want quick money, investors want quick money, so there has to be more access to patient capital. That would definitely be one. Second, I can definitely think that though we have Atal Tinkering Lab and all of these innovations, but we can, for the next 10 years, for the next decade, we can increase these activities in schools and colleges, because that's where the next generations of entrepreneurs will come. I know we all are aware there are a lot of activities happening at state level. Even CBSE has introduced lot of program onto entrepreneurship. But whole of it, can we make it more of mandatory at school and college level, so that the next generation treat it more like the way we treat our core academic subjects. So yes, that is something there. And more of these conversations. I know government is doing a lot into having more of these conversations. So I believe a February mega AI conference, global conference has been also
AI
announced.
Impact Summit. Yeah.
Right. So I think we can take these conferences, global conferences at state level, district level. All of these districts could have grants and capitals access. So it definitely percolates, and I think smart cities would not come just because of infrastructure. We can create smart cities with our thinking and entrepreneurial setup at every district center.
Indeed, indeed. My last question to you should be, with AI becoming the key to innovation in today's world, what steps are being taken or need to be taken to make the startup industry AI compatible?
All right. I think we really need to look at our laws, especially a lot of IT acts and all of it, because the way AI is bringing innovation, I think it's very fast. We can't even think about 10 years, 2 years. We have to think in terms of months and weeks. That's the advancement of AI. So all the AI startups need to be given more research accessibility, more international exposures. Maybe government can take ahead more of international delegations, give access to all of it, and new laws, regulations around IT Act, around AI infrastructure, and maybe a different total cell in DPIIT, which is just dealing with super AI native startups.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion, should be there. Thank you very much for taking out the time for us on DD India. You may join your team next in Bharat Mandapam. Well, it was a really great event for all of us to see and witness the journey of Startup India, a decade turning India into startup entrepreneurs. You're watching DD India News Hour. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, we'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. The UN Security Council met in New York over escalating protests in Iran. UN officials are urging diplomacy, while the US once again warned that all options are on the table for President Donald Trump to pursue and stop the slaughter in Iran. Tehran, on its part, warned that any aggression will be met decisively. Take a look at this report. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session in New York on Iran amid growing concern over reports that hundreds have been killed during nationwide protests. Demonstrations that began in late December, fueled by soaring inflation, rising food prices, and the collapse of the national currency, triggered a deadly and widespread crackdown with thousands injured and detained. The United Nations urged everyone to walk on the path of diplomacy.
The Secretary General remains convinced that all concerns regarding Iran, including those related to the nuclear issue and ongoing protests, are best addressed through diplomacy and dialogue.
The United States reaffirmed its solidarity with the people of Iran and warned that all options are open to stop the slaughter.
President Donald J. Trump and the United States of America stands by the brave people of Iran. President Trump is a man of action, not endless talk like we see at the United Nations. He has made it clear all options are on the table to stop the slaughter.
Iran warned that any act of aggression will be met with a decisive response.
Iran seeks neither escalation nor confrontation. However, any act of aggression, direct or indirect, will be met with a decisive, proportionate, and lawful response under Article 51 of the Charter. This is not a threat. It is a statement of legal reality.
White House has claimed that Iran has halted 800 executions under pressure from President Donald Trump. With Tehran already under crippling restrictions over its nuclear program that contributed to the economic woes that sparked protests, the US also announced new sanctions targeting Iranian officials on Thursday. Bureau Report, DD India. Peace plan has entered its second phase despite unresolved disputes between Israel and Hamas over alleged ceasefire violations and issues unaddressed in the first stage. The most contentious questions remain Hamas's refusal to publicly commit to full disarmament, a non-negotiable demand from Israel, and Israel's lack of clarity over whether it will fully withdraw its forces from Gaza. Take a look at the developments from phase 1 to the newly launched second stage of the ceasefire.
Gaza ceasefire phase 1, gains and gaps. The first phase began on October 10, 2025 and aimed primarily to stop the fighting in the Gaza Strip, allowing aid and secure the return of all remaining living and deceased hostages held by Hamas and other groups. All hostages have since been returned except for the remains of one Israeli, Ran Gavili, while Israel has accused Hamas of delaying handover of Gavili's body. Phase 2, disarmament and governance. Phase 2 aims for the full demilitarization and reconstruction of Gaza, including the disarmament of all unauthorized armed factions. Gaza to be administered by a 15-member Palestinian Technocratic Committee. The committee will operate under the supervision of Board of Peace to be chaired by Donald Trump. Members to be announced soon. Witkoff said Washington expected Hamas to fulfill its remaining obligations, warning that failure to do so would bring serious consequences. The plan also calls for the deployment of an international stabilization force to help secure Gaza and train wedded Palestinian police units.
On to South America now. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado presented her Nobel Peace Prize medal to US President Donald Trump during a high-stakes meeting that could influence how Trump seeks to shape Venezuela's political future. Trump accepted the medal. Machado, who described the meeting as excellent, told that she offered it in recognition of his commitment to the freedom of the Venezuelan people. Her gesture appeared aimed at underscoring the symbolic importance she places on United States support for Venezuela's democratic struggle, as well as her effort to gain influence over the country's future direction. Trump has previously expressed frustration at not receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, which was awarded to Machado last month. Machado highlighted the need to build democratic, solid and stable institutions.
We were able to calmly discuss the expectations and dreams of Venezuelans, the difficult times we are experiencing, but at the same time full of hope for the changes to come. I conveyed to him the determination and commitment of Venezuelan society to fight for a transition that will not only allow us to build democratic, solid and stable institutions, but also to address the most important issue, which is our people, not only in terms of freedoms and the violation of political prisoners, guarantees of free expression, freedom of movement and freedom of organization, but also addressing the enormous humanitarian crisis in Venezuela due to the situation of income, lack of employment and the collapse of security, health and education.
The US President heaped praise on Machado for presenting him with her Nobel Peace Prize. In a post on social media, Trump described the gesture as a wonderful one of mutual respect. Back to Asia. A South Korean court on Friday sentenced former President Yoon Suk-yeol to 5 years in prison on charges that included obstructing attempts by authorities to arrest him following his failed bid to impose martial law in December 2024. The court found Yoon guilty of mobilizing the Presidential Security Service to block authorities from executing an arrest warrant to investigate him for his martial law declaration. Speaking outside the court immediately afterwards, one of Yoon's lawyers said that the former president would appeal, terming the decision as politicized. The verdict is the first against Yoon in the 8 criminal trials over the martial law decree he issued in late 2024 and other allegations. Apart from Friday's sentence, Yoon faces 7 more trials, with the next sentencing on Yoon's insurrection on charge scheduled on February 19th. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. Former champion Lakshya Sen produced a composed performance to progress to the quarterfinals of the India Open Badminton Tournament. Sen, a 2021 World Championships bronze medalist, showed resilience and maturity to overcome Japan's Kenta Nishimoto 21-19, 21-11 in the second round. The 24-year-old will face Chinese Taipei's Lin Chun-Ye today. Earlier, Kidambi Srikanth fought hard but went down 21-14, 17-21, 21-17 to France's Christo Popov, who is the reigning World Tour Finals champion. Pranay also pushed his opponent close before losing 18-21, 21-19, 21-14 to 8th seed Loh Kian Yew of Singapore. The top men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty also exited after a heartbreaking 27-25, 21-23, 19-21 loss to Japan's Hiroki Midorikawa and Kyohei Yamashita. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates from India and the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.